Africans must desire a continent that is peaceful, secured, united and prosperous, as well as promote constitutionalism and respect for human rights. Those were the views of stakeholders at the opening of a 3-day African regional dialogue on the Summit of the Future holding in Abuja. Chukwunonso Nwabweze reports that President Bola Tinubu's message to the dialogue was delivered by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume.
This is a convergence of leading global policymakers, researchers, international relations experts, as well as human rights advocates from Africa and around the world. They are in Abuja, Nigeria's capital city, at the instance of Savannah Center for Diplomacy, Democracy and Development, to discuss and recommend specific regional and global institutional policy and operational innovations that could promote African perspectives and priorities at the global stage. President Bola Tinubu, in a message delivered by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, expressed concern over the rising threat of widespread of terrorism across international borders, as well as insurgency and disruptive intervention of the military in governance in Africa, particularly in West Africa.
As part of our collective response to these challenges, which have great global implications, may I urge the participants to find innovative and cost-effective strategies by which African Union would collaborate with the United Nations and the international community to stem the tide of the proliferation of arms and light weapons into Africa.
Promoting effective conflict prevention through mediation, through dialogue, will be critical so that we can all champion mediation in solving our disputes.
The discussions during this 3-day meeting are certainly very promising, and the envisaged platform for the African policy researchers and advocates.
If you look at the main purpose of the UN, peace and security, development, democratization and human rights, these are not only global challenges but African challenges, and the global challenges cannot be addressed in isolation from the African voices.
Participants lend their support to a reformed and expanded United Nations Security Council, where Africa should have at least 2 seats at the council and leverage the youthful population of Africa in planning for the future.
If we're really serious about taking forward the ambitious, forward-leaning ideas at the heart of our conversations this week, we must be ready to monitor and critique efforts to implement the Pact for the Future.
We're talented, we're gifted, but again, we must be resolute. We must be determined to have a focus on our young ones.
My message today is really a call to action, to remind us that even as we deliberate, even as we bring forward recommendations on behalf of young people, that we include them in the conversation.
With the theme, "The Africa We Want and the United Nations We Need," the dialogue is expected to establish a standing network of African think tanks to follow up on strategies to ensure that recommendations reached at the end of the dialogue, as well as previous and subsequent recommendations, are implemented by relevant authorities. Chukwunonso Nwabweze, NTA News.